Good morning. Welcome to our Saturday coffee chat. It is December 5th.
Fourth.
I always mess that up. Anyway, it's the last month of 2021. So it's the holidays. And our topic today is going to be about how to change how you think about stress and stress less. So I'm going to share my screen because I have a couple of slides. And then we're going to watch a TED Talk video that is awesome. So let me share my screen.
There it is.
Okay. All right. So stress less. And in the video that we're going to watch, the TED Talk, she talks about the old brain and the new brain. So keep that in mind when you watch the video and she's explaining this. I shared this video with Deb, and I was just thinking I was going to bullet point and talk about, the information in there, but she explains it so well that I think it behooves us to just watch the actual TED Talk. So if you're watching the recording of our coffee chat, it's going to cut that out, but I will put the link in the post. So one of the quotes that she has is from Viktor Frankl, who was a Holocaust survivor. And the quote is, "Between stimulus and response, there is a space. In that space is our power to choose our response. And in that response lies our growth and freedom." So keep that in mind too. What we're going to talk about is what we can change and how we respond to things. So before we get into that, a couple of announcements. So we have joined forces with Team Muscles and Mascara. So it works like this. I'm Deb's coach and Nani's my coach. So we're like this sisterhood. We build on each other and help each other. And so we thought it was a great collaboration for us to all be in the same group. There's just more engagement, more support. And so if you haven't requested to join, I want you to do that. And I'm going to send out one more time the link. So you get in there and you'll see there's a lot of activity. Which brings me to, on Monday, we're starting job 1. So that is available to preferred customers and coaches. Right now, it'll be available to regular customers on December 16th for early access, I believe is the date. But it's going to be awesome to be in the group with a bunch of people that are doing the same workout. If you haven't tried it, there's a sample workout that you can try now that's out there on BOD. And also, if you don't want to do that, but you've been waiting for 6:45 to become available, that is now out on BOD for everyone as well. So let's look at the coffee chat schedule for the last of this year, this December, and then going into our new year, 2022. So the last coffee chat for this year is going to be next weekend, and we're going to talk about sweet ingredient hacks, some videos that are produced by Alana Molstein, who's creator of 2B Mindset. So we're going to go over those. I think it'll be great going into the last couple of weeks into the holiday. And then no coffee chat the rest of December or on New Year's. December 18th, I'm going to be off the grid a bit. We're going to be all doing our final holiday prep. So this is going to be like, we don't want to stress about having to show up, everywhere. Just show up for yourself, which is the whole premise of job 1. But we're going to come together on January 8th, 2022. We're going to celebrate the new year, and we're going to start with some tips on turning your New Year's resolutions into lasting change. So there's a big difference between resolutions and goals. At the beginning of every quarter, we look at our goals and how we're going to achieve that. So we're going to talk about some tips for that. And then, so let's talk about, this is what the topic for today is how to change the way you think about stress. So there's real and genuine stress in our world and in our lives right now. That's what we can't change. But there's a lot of stress in our lives because of how we think, and that is what we can change. So the TED Talk really is going to go into depth about that. So let's go ahead and watch that. Again, if you're watching the recording, which you all are because it's me and Deb on this morning, it's going to cut this video out. So look for the link in the post, and then we're going to talk about the some takeaways from that. So let me stop share there. Okay, so takeaways from the video. She starts out with talking about how she looks at health through 3 lenses, and I thought this was really interesting. It is nutrition, biochemistry, and emotions. So nutrition, obviously, that can play a part in how we handle stress. It can play a part in just how we feel about ourselves and about the world around us. And biochemistry is what is happening internally, all the hormones, the reactions that we're having, and what fuel you're giving your body, the functioning of our body, which is what our primary purpose of exercise is for, to maintain our functionality, and then emotions and how we deal with that. So we're going to go into that. She talks about that a lot, and that's kind of where this piece is about stress. So the pattern of stress hormone production changes in when we think, and how our response is to certain things that we react to. So one of the things that she had in there, if you caught it, was one of the ways to deal with stress specifically about people and how you're responding to how people are. The example was the coworker called and asked, like, where's this assignment, and how we interpret the question, and how that person is asking it. And it's not necessarily, it isn't the question that creates stress for us necessarily. It's how we think about the question and how it was asked and how we perceive it. And so there's what she calls forward words. So to be able to move forward from that, identify that, okay, I'm feeling a little stressful about this, and how can you flip it and to have forward words. And those are, this would be like a homework assignment for you, is write down words that identify how you would like people to view you. Like words that describe how we want others to think of us. Right. So that'll help in that moment when we are creating this own atmosphere of judgment in our own head. Like the person is just wanting to know where this is, because they're probably stressed out because they're thinking their own thoughts, right? So we have to kind of like just in that moment pause and say, okay, about is this real or is it fancied? Is my stress like something that is real, or is it something that I'm making up? Excuse me. Which again, she talks about, like, some people get really stressed out when they're running late. Some people don't. And that is proof that stress, that isn't real. Like, that's not real stress. It is how you're reacting to that particular situation. So, and we do this all the time in different scenarios. And as individuals, different things stress us out. So the other piece that I really loved was she would have a conversation with herself. Like, she would have a thought, and then she's like, do I believe that thought? And we really need to ask ourselves, like, is that true? And it, a lot of times it's not true. It's just this record that we've been playing so long. We really can change our life by how we change about how we think about it, which is the whole kind of like the bottom line, right? And that's where that space, that response, that Viktor Frankl quote was about there is a space between when somebody asks us a question or something happens, that stimulus that starts to trigger that, and then our response to it. And we have to maximize that power is in that gap. And we can decide how to respond in a way that's healthier for us and for everyone around us, really. And in that, you grow, and that is where your freedom lies. So, love this talk. It really, I thought, was timely for the holiday season, and just giving us this mental shift on how we can react to the things that we're encountering on a day-to-day basis. So what are your takeaways, Deb? What do you?
Well, I kind of play on you, but a little bit. But the nutrition, the biochemistry, and emotion, and it's like we deal with the nutrition a lot in our groups, and I totally believe that that's the foundation of a better health is nutrition, bottom line. But that feeds, and I'm always going to the gut and brain, but it feeds the gut and brain, and that leads into the biochemistry of you need to take care of your body and yourself first before you leave the door or answer the phone every day. So those go in hand because biochemistry is exercising your brain even by journaling. I don't do that as often, but that's my biggest goal. But the emotion is where it's a struggle on my part. But I can see how my emotion for that state of mind at that moment creates that pause gap of where maybe I didn't eat and I'm hangry and somebody's asking me a question. Am I responding in that manner? Or I'm guilty and not working out and I'm just flustered with time, and am I responding in that manner? So it's funny how stress could be both, and you rely on it, but it reminds me of the 5-second rule is you're identifying what emotion that is, and then you're pausing, but that forward words is that 5-second rule. And just thinking about it, and then, okay, just blurt it out 5 seconds, what's going to be the consequence? Well, who cares at that moment, but at least you're going to get that feedback out, and hopefully the delivery is reflective. But talking about reflection, that is my biggest motto, is your friends reflect who you are. Well, are you present that day? Your friends are going to be reflecting that presence that you present that time and day. And so they're going to respond that way. And so, yeah, this TED Talk can keep in check on your own stress, but maybe sometimes identifying other people's stress and just seek for their, are you okay today? You appear this. And if you're reading it wrong, that's okay. At least you're reaching out and helping somebody. So I see it that way too.
Love that. Yeah, good point. I too, that who we surround ourselves with, we talked about that before, and that can sometimes dictate our thoughts and our actions, even despite what we really want to do, or, and so when I was talking about our groups joining forces, that I was going to bring that up too, was just being around, in the group together with more people working towards the similar things is going to help us to stay positive and less stress about our nutrition and our fitness and our just overall well-being. The last piece she talks about is trust. What is the opposite of stress? It's trust, trusting yourself. And that's where those forward words come in to play too. It's like, once you identify those forward words, like if mine would be like, I want people to view me as reliable, as capable, as giving, caring. And then in that moment, when you're doubting yourself, is to think about those forward words and trust that you are those things. But we doubt ourselves so much about it. And then we stress. Yeah. So love it. Love to hear your thoughts after you watch that down below. Share them with the group. And we'll see you next weekend. Stop.